Next, we're moving into details that we saw in the tomb. So Layla writes her name in the sand of El, which is her last name, of Abdallah El Fuli, which means servant of God. Ironically, Marcus tried to keep her away from being a servant of Khonshu.
Oh, wow.
It's very clever, very, very clever. Mark draws the symbol of the Eye of Horus, which represents the six parts that also represents the six senses of thought, sight, hearing, smell, touch, and taste. Layla almost falls off of a giant pit, similar to the pit that Indiana Jones almost fell into, where he had to make the leap of faith to get the cup, being in the same cave. Yes, I love The Last Crusade. I love The Last Crusade.
I've never seen an Indiana Jones movie.
Freaking love that. You have to watch them. I'm gonna get you to watch one before you come to California, so then we can like so then you know like the basis of an Indiana Jones adventure, because like it's not based on a movie, but there is one iconic thing that happens that we kind of need to. Anyway, I need to get off my my indie moment that I'm having here. Anyway, on the walls of the tomb, there are hieroglyphics that translate to King Alexander, which is later confirmed to be the real tomb by Stephen. Alexander the Great led once. So we mentioned this a little bit here about Alexander the Great. You gave us a lesson on that, so we'll just skip that detail.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're good.
My giant books of Egyptian pharaohs.
Right. In the MCU, the final avatar of Amit was actually King Alexander, and that his military feats could have been enabled by Amit's power and cult. And then he's also is inspired the same kind of cult following that Harrow now has.
Yes.
Really interesting. On Alexander's chest is a golden scarab that is open like a scarab compass used to find the tomb that housed Amit's idol. Arthur shows up in the tomb and says that the rest is silent, which is the last word spoken by Hamlet. It's a pun because they are inside the tomb looking at a dead body.
Especially a dead body that is the voice of Amit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. After Mark gets shot and lands in the water, the bullet holes are gone, showing his passing from the field of reeds.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
And now we get into the mental hospital. Donovan, I think I have to ask you about Asylum and what you know about it, because I feel like I don't know anything about it. And I think fans of the show, but not the comics, are a little confused. So if you could give us anything that you know about Asylum, because you talked a lot about it on your TikTok, of course, but my audience would like to know what is going on.
So if what it seems to be, they're doing at least some sort of variation of the 2016 Lemire run, which is where it actually gets completely wildly crazy. So Mark Spector wakes up in a mental institution where all of his friends, Crawley, there's no Donna at the time, obviously, but Merlene and different people all are in there, as well as patients. And then there is a doctor, Dr. Emmett, and he can still see Khonshu and everything, but they're saying, oh, Moon Knight is fake. This is all part of your DID, whatnot. And then he's like, no, you're actually Amit. I know it, blah, 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 blah. And then he can still conjure up his gear, and then he can see the guards as, oh my gosh, jackals. And then he sees Dr. Emmett as Amit. And then anyways, he goes through this whole big thing. And at the very, very end, it turns out that he thought that it was Amit and everybody else, but it was actually Khonshu, making him go even crazier, because Khonshu needed Mark's body because Khonshu's body was dying, and he needed to possess Mark's body and actually take over his body and make him go completely mad.
Wow.
So it was a complete twist at the end.
I think they might be adding that sort of into the show, because if you remember, when they're in the room with all of the gods, they mention how Khonshu, like they ask him directly, is Khonshu making you worse than you are? Which kind of proves that he has a history of doing this to his avatars.
Yeah. Right. Wow.
So if they're going anywhere down that route, like, which it seems they kind of do seem to be with, making it the, or at least making
like little nods to it to like appease the comic readers.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I mean, Amit's got to get some better disguises. Emmett and Amit. Someone needs to call up the pantheon of writing for that one.
All right. So that is, I love that that's a really cool twist at the end of that. And so let's get into the details in the asylum that we get in this episode. The little tiny bit at the end that we get of it, because we got a lot of really intense shots. So much. The movie that is shown in the hospital, is Tomb Buster. It's a direct ripoff of Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider, with the film showing the opening of Raiders of the Lost Ark when they found the remains of the previous explorer, with the audio almost being note for note to the John Williams and Deefy.
It's really cool, actually.
Yeah, and this one got me. This one helped with the Arthur gaslighting me thing. Stephen may have pulled the name and expertise of Stephen Grant from this film, like someone manifesting an alter of Indiana Jones to Dr. Jones for the Princeton Professor and Adventurer. So
this will actually come back later.
Yeah, that can actually happen with people with DID. It's a lot rarer, but you definitely can form alters of characters that you feel very safe with, because DID is a trauma response.
Yeah.
You are going to have a protector, like which I believe will be Jake, will be like the main protector. He will be the one who will just go guns a-blazing. And Steven is kind of like the innocence, the awkward nerdiness of himself. Just becoming into more play. And if he saw his nerdy self as a bit of Stephen Grant, his favorite character, it is totally possible that he could have completely adopted Stephen Grant to be an alter.
Yeah.
For real.
All right. Instead of the Egyptian moon god, they explore the Aztec moon deity of Coyohaki with multiple faces, like the split personalities of Mark. Have fun trying to pronounce that at home, y'all.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was reading it and I can't even.
Yeah. I had to look over it. I had to look it over a couple of times. I'm like, this is my mythology. I should know this. All right. So Crowley appears calling the bingo numbers from his hat. The bald man fidgets with the Rubik's Cube as Stephen did to stay awake.
That was the guy that ends up being embalmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the tour guide that Stephen was supposed to go on the date with is sitting behind him. Billy and Bobby, the two detectives who are also shown as well. They're people who work in the mental hospital in the comics as well. And Donna is also shown as a patient clutching, and we talked about this earlier. Donovan proved us wrong. It is the scarab that she is holding.
It is a scarab.
The red, blue, and yellow jello are the same colors of powder at the tomb where the sacrifice is taking place, which we even glanced over there when he was going through that that top shelf area. The clock on the wall reads 11:25 with the hour hand in the shape of a crescent moon. There you go, Donovan. There's your moon reference for the day. Donovan just really wants to know what the moon phase is.
Right.
There is a cupcake heart, like the cupcake van that Steven stole in episode 1. One of the patients sketches a hummingbird with Khonshu's skull, and the hummingbird from the nature footage in Harrow's commune.
It also kind of ties into how Khonshu is shown in the actual mythology of having a bird head.
Yeah.
It's just in this case, rather than being a full bird, half bird, or whole human, he is part living bird and part dead bird.
Yes.
To show the marvelous Khonshu instead of the Egyptian Khonsu.
Yeah. On the dry erase board, there are postcards that are the exact same ones Stephen thinks he gets from his mom, but here Layla is the one who puts them up. So perhaps the mom Stephen thought he was connecting with was actually Layla.
That'd be so weird.
That'd be cool. That'd be interesting.
That would definitely be a little bit weird, especially like, imagine being this woman. Your husband has just sent you divorce papers.
And I was calling you mom.
Has been ghosted. And now this random British guy who does not even actually sound British, because again, he's not actually British. He is an alter formed from a terrible British acting back in the day, is calling you, being like, hey mom, how are you? It's been a great day at work. And you're like, who the is this? But that's probably why the mom declined all of the calls. And
now he calls you mommy.
Yes.
Right, Sky? Anyway.
It depends on who's fronting. Let's be honest here.
Anyways, moving on.
Layla has a bandage on her finger with the red scarab, which is a direct adaptation of the character of the Scarlet Scarab, an Egyptian warrior who led the Sun to the Scarab and who fought against the invaders of Captain America, Human Torch, Namor, and other characters, showing the line of Egyptian protectors in her family.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. The wrap around his leg that causes him to fall down from the wheelchair directly calls back to when he fell on his face in the Alps, and out of bed being the exact same side of his face.
And it is even the exact same tether that he has
on his bed. That's what I was gonna say.
From the bed to keep him from sleepwalking.
I didn't even notice that.
Exact same. That is why the camera pans on it so hard and for so long.
Yeah.
In both the first episode and in that scene.
He holds the action figure of Moon Knight, hinting that Moon Knight was made up and possibly from one of the movies that he watches on TV. There's a very
imagine if that wasn't like a character in the MCU, that was actually from one of the films. He just adapted it to his like actual like persona.
Yeah.
So like the Moon Knight character never actually goes out of the show. It's just specifically for this series.
Yeah.
Obviously that won't happen, but
there is a painting of the Alps in Harrow's office. There is also the mummy cases in his office of Ra, Tarouet, and a human head of Alexander the Great, and a crocodile statue of the head of Amit.
Which then brings back in of Harrow's gaslighting of the entire series,
being
where you're sitting in the office, and if you are in fact in a psych ward, you are there every day for scheduled appointments, and it is totally possible that you were dissociating on this painting long enough to imagine yourself there and running and being in the city. And you can imagine looking at like the statue and being like, I am talking to him, I am like ruining his mummy body, I am doing this. It's totally possible to just have complete dissociation, because dissociation is a major part of DID.
Right.
I would also like to point out that I think even Marvel is aiding in this gaslighting of us, because there is this moment. I mean, what's been happening on their Instagram for weeks is we saw the cupcake, we saw the fish,
the bingo
card, we saw
the little statues of the
statues. And I think it's all been leading up to this moment because you think about the background, it's very similar to the asylum. Everything's grayed out, everything's kind of in that like solid palette, and with this white background. I think it's been leading up to this in the asylum. They've been leading us to this
it
moment.
Almost makes it even better that Harrow's office is entirely white, because white often like is the symbol of pure and innocence and like true intentions. So it is very much a psychological thing. If you're ever watching a YouTuber apology video and they're wearing like white or their background is white, that is what they're trying to convey. It's a non-verbal thing. And
like, sorry, we tricked you.
Yeah, I love the gaslighting in the scene that isn't told to us. It is visual. It is visually shown, where Mark is looking around the room and he sees the mirror that shows behind his desk and shows that he's not in like a suit, pants, and like shoes. He is in like sandals and khakis.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of there being like, are those sandals and khakis? Do mental health professionals wear sandals and khakis inside an asylum? Is that even allowed inside?
Is that a grasp on reality? Is it?
Right.
Especially because so many people hopefully have never had to be inside an asylum that they wouldn't know. They don't have a firsthand account. So you're kind of questioning, is this real? Because it looked pretty real before, but the fact that he's not wearing what I believe to be normal wear for a psych ward doctor is kind of messing with the perception of time and reality.
All right, we're getting to the end here. On the desk is a VHS of Tomb Buster that reads, "When Deeper is here, Stephen Grant has no fear." This is cute. I don't know.
Well, Stephen Grant's made up. That just says it right there. It's just a made up personality.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I know you're jealous of him, but no, it's not.
Stephen Grant is the character from that movie.
It's also kind of funny considering the Stephen Grant that we've seen throughout the entire film is almost entirely afraid of everything.
Right.
He is constantly running away from things. He is constantly just like, I don't want to fight. Please, please. That's too scary. That's too gross. I don't want to do that. No.
The lights in the hallway swing back and forth like the swinging scales of on the arms of Amit's followers.
Oh.
Interesting. Mark and Steven meet, but the third tomb is never opened. And fans, all I saw on yes, the sarcophagus is waiting to be opened. And what I saw on Twitter for hours was let Jake out.
Literally.
Yeah. Let Jake out. And they looked at him for a second. They were like, hello, before, a hippo shows up. Speaking of which, ending with the reveal of Tarit, the hippo that represents childbirth and fatality. In the credits, Tarit, the hippo god, can be spotted in the background with the other stone gods. So it seems like she was also one of the goddesses turned to stone for an unknown reason, which is why she can be seen in the psych hospital, maybe hinting at seeing other gods there and Khonshu.
Which then again begs the question, if she's such like a normal god, because it doesn't seem like based on what pantheon she operates, that she would be able to do anything bad enough to get turned to stone. So it's kind of like, what has she done? And what is the leader of the gods doing to them? Like, is it truthfully like a just system where it is, you have broken these rules, so therefore you must turn to stone? Or is it because I think you should be stone?
Yeah.
You're opposing me.
Right.
Because they did throw Khonshu out at like the first sign of him not following what the gods wanted to do, even though Khonshu in the end is right. But he gets turned to stone anyway. So it's kind of like, are the gods with us or against us? So it offers like multiple layers.
Yeah. Leading right into, do we have any predictions for next episode? Donovan, what you got for me?
Oh gosh, well, I don't know if it could go back, like Sky said, like where we learn about where we see actually how he became Moon Knight and everything like that, or if we're going to go more into the asylum route where we're going to see them maybe unlock Jake Lockley, and I don't know, we have to get more answers with this hippo. So
I know, a hippo.
Yeah.
I would personally love to dive deeper into the asylum. Because I think I convinced myself with the Instagram post thing that like everything's leading up to this.
Right.
So I would be really interested to kind of see them navigate the asylum business a little bit more, especially because I just like two Oscar Isaacs.
I'm the opposite. I don't like the asylum.
No,
I want to like I want a full episode on his backstory, and like I want to get into what actually happened.
I would like it if they sort of intermingle them.
Yeah.
If he has, the conversation with Emmett, and because Amit does judge you based on what has happened in your past, whether you have DID or not, he is gonna like go through your past with you. So I'd like it if he had maybe like he runs into like a counseling session, or they find him, because they're still running after him at the end of the episode. They drug him and they put him in a counseling session with Emmett. And then we go back and we see the moment that it happens. We see like maybe not like the full scene of like the abuse that caused the altars and all of like the entire backstory, just like bits and pieces, enough to answer questions, but to still leave us like wanting more kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just to explain some of the bigger questions,
Yeah, absolutely. And then finally, ending on a good note, I love to do my little favorites lightning round. So let's just start with the first one. Who was our favorite character this week? Who did y'all like the most this week?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say Layla. I really
Steven.
Of course.
Honey, what'd you think?
It was good.
It was good,
That's not the question.
I don't really have a favorite character. My favorite character was the guy that got that ripped out the guy's guts.
Oh my god.
The mummy.
Yeah.
The guard.
Oh my god. What was your favorite scene?
The moon.
I just said it.
The moon scene where they were turning back time in the sky.
Oh, in this episode.
Was that? I thought
that was last week.
No, that was episode 3.
Last episode.
I watched them all in like conjunction in class. I'm sorry.
I personally really enjoyed the very awkward kissing scene.
I
Oh,
hated
That
that.
Sky was like, when that happened, he went, I'm physically uncomfortable.
It was too cringy.
And I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
I think you
Yeah.
were
That's
supposed to
kind of the
cringe a little
point,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it was supposed to be, because this is he was Stephen Grant, the very
Stephen-
awkward, nerdy.
Yes.
I don't know how to talk to anyone, let alone women, guy who's kissing his wife, because whether or not Mark is the one who married him, it is still the same body. So it
Yeah.
is still his wife.
It's an awkward situation, and
Yeah.
Stephen really wants to be
Really
like this
play it
Indiana
up.
Jones hero.
Yeah.
And so he's
He
trying
just
to
can't be.
and she also went in for the kill and he backed out.
Yeah.
And now that he revealed the truth to her, like, first of all, yes, Stephen, tell her the truth.
Yeah. She needed
and
that.
she
She
needed
definitely
it.
needed that.
And so now that like feels like there's not a barrier between them, he wants to kiss her in the way that she initiated it, but he doesn't know what to do. So he literally puts one hand on one shoulder and then one hand on the other shoulder, and he just slowly goes in for it. And she's like,
Yeah.
she's like having this like internal struggle too, where she's like, this is my
almost
husband, but
like,
he's not my
it's
husband.
almost like those scenes in like rom-coms where one of them's leaning in and then the other one starts leaning away. And you're like, what are you doing?
I don't know. I think they were both into it. It was just like a matter of like, this is not ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if Layla felt some sort of like she was sort of confused on it, because while it is the same body, she is married to the personality of Mark,
Right.
but has just met Steven.
Well, now they're not the same body
And-
anymore.
Well, yeah.
Now they're
but-
two
I
us.
want to make a joke so bad right now, but I can't.
Yeah, the DID community will come after you.
I'm gonna hear about this later. I know it. All right. Was there a favorite line or a favorite moment? Favorite little.
After he kissed him when he punched himself in the face and fell
Yeah,
into
that was
the
really
tomb.
funny. Yeah.
That was
And
funny.
the really funny, Layla's just casually sitting there drawing, and then all of a sudden you just hear and then he's smacking. He's just like, "Are you okay?" And he's just like, "Yeah, fine,
Yeah, I'm good.
Great.
I'm good.
And
I liked watching Steven get a little giddy over everything that he found. I thought that was really cool.
I like how the man can read hieroglyphs in 3 seconds, and it takes us actual humans like 4 months. Did I say for 3 singular characters?
Right. Donovan, you got a favorite moment?
I liked when we first went in the hospital and we just saw all the little details of like everything from the past
Yes.
episodes.
Oh,
Just-
yeah,
that
all
was
the
just
little
really cool.
characters.
Yeah.
All right, honey, besides getting mummified alive, was there anything else that you enjoyed?
When he was fisting his mouth in the Alexander the Great room, when he was getting the thing of Amit out, I thought that was pretty
the
cool.
Amit's tomb.
Yeah, when he was getting the statue of him,
Yeah.
I thought that was like a really cool scene.
Technically, that would be Amit's tomb.
Yeah,
He
'cause
was
that's what he found.
entombed
Yeah,
in
exactly.
stone, so it is Amit's tomb. Yeah.
Mhm.
There wasn't really any action this time around, so we'll just skip that part. Did
The
anyone have
bloody stabbing was an action enough
Right.
for you?
what was your least favorite moment?
Oh,
Steven getting shot. What do
like
you
half
mean?
of the scenes with
That-
Harrow.
Yeah.
The Harrow
I-
scenes just weren't really it this episode. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't like where he came into the room on the other side and was like, "I'm gonna taunt you from over here." Yeah, I'm so
Yeah.
cool. And then we're like,
we've seen better Harrow stuff. We've seen
yeah.
better.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
I
the,
was
the
like-
kiss really annoyed me. It took me out of
Yeah.
the episode to the point where I was like, oh, this is not what I wanted at all.
half
He
of the
doesn't like
Harrow
romance.
scenes.
I
yeah,
hate
the
romance
Harrow
stuff.
scenes this episode definitely sort of felt like we're paying him millions of dollars, so we kind of have to put him in this episode. He's in a 6-episode contract, so he kind of needs to be in it.
Yeah.
But there's really not a place for him, so we're just gonna put him right here.
Right here. Yeah, exactly. Which episode so far out of these 4 is your favorite?
This one.
Yeah, probably
This
episode
one,
4.
This one,
This
yeah.
one for sure.
Yeah.
This one for sure. Alrighty. All right. With that being said, we have now concluded episode 4. Episode 5 is coming out this Tuesday at midnight. I don't know if y'all are midnight, y'all who are listening. I know we are midnight watchers, but I don't know if y'all are doing that. But we will definitely pick it up this week. I will be on the road.
Whoa, I was just thinking about something.
Yes.
So you know how like you said midnight watchers, and I was like, oh, does that make us watchers of the Marvel multiverse? Because technically we've seen everything and every perspective from out the entirety of the MCU.
Wow. And we can't interfere.
We can't do anything about it. It'll just happen in front of us.
Wow.
We're the
That's very
Eternals.
meta.
Dude, we're the Watcher.
Or the Watcher. I'm good with that. Anyway.
Hail the Watcher.
Anyway, so when we next time that we record, I will actually be in a hotel somewhere, probably in Indianapolis, maybe. We'll see how far I get. But I will be on the road recording. I'm very, very excited about that. Anybody else have anything they want to plug? Oh, Rebecca, do you want to plug any socials or anything?
At Hades Bunny on everything.
There we go.
Twitch,
Hades Bunny.
Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, everything. Yes, I'm a Twitch streamer. Get over it, Sky.
And then the finale episode will be in person, us three.
In person,
together.
us three together in person.
I mean, technically, if Rebecca shows up, she lives 5 minutes from my house.
Yeah, you're right down the street.
Okay. Yeah, she lives literally right next to me.
All right, well, dope. There we go.
Crazy.
All 4 of us in person. Let's go.
Right.
And then Jared.
Right.
Jared
fly over for the day. No.
Jared's with me this week. Okay.
Right.
We can drag Alex into this.
This is very exciting. Is that Jared on our next episode where we're gonna do news? Sky and I are gonna break down some Disney parks news. But then on Monday night, Sky and I will be recording with Jared. But Jared will be with me in here.
Yay.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so lots of things are happening with me this week. I'm tired.
Big meetups.
Right, big meetups. Big move-ins.
Yeah.
That's one thing too. Alrighty. If you could please leave us a rate and a review. If you could go to Spotify, give us that nice little shiny 5-star review, would be fabulous as well. We have our special guest, Hades Bunny, and we have Donovan Rose, as always, at the Donovan Rose. Donovan, it was so funny. My godbrother was at my house for my going away party, and I was like, have you heard of the Donovan Rose? And he's like, yeah, a little bit.
Oh, no way.
And I was I'm like, yeah, well, he's like coming to stay at my, he's coming to stay with me next week. And he was like, get out of town. No way. And I was like, yeah. And he's going to like Soups' event. And he was like, I know who Soups is, and was like, oh my God, this is your life. And I'm like, yes, this is my life.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Catch us at the next Marvel premiere.
Right.
Literally.
Red carpet ready.
It was really interesting for sure. Anyway, if you could give us all those lovely follows on the socials, that'd be great. And with that, dream a fantastic dream.